Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Anshula, and today we are judging books by their covers. Beautiful covers, special editions, illustrated classics, all draw me closer to specific stories. When I see a gorgeous cover, especially when it's face front in Barnes & Noble or an indie bookshop, my curiosity increases and I start to wonder, oh, what's that book about? Cover buys are common for me, so I am going to be answering questions from the Aesthetically Pleasing Book Tag, which was originally created by Jennifer Khawam, aka Booksera. Unfortunately, the original video was deleted, but I will link Jennifer's channel in the description box so you can check out her content. The first question is, what is the best color combo on a book cover? I am usually drawn to either vibrant, boisterous colors or soft pastels, but my favorite book color combinations right now are those on the Bloomsbury Modern Classics editions. I love the gentle, limited palettes of these covers, how scenes are rendered in different tints. I own one title in this series. I found this barely used copy of Eat, Pray, Love in Changing Hands bookshop in Phoenix. I remember when I went to the register, the bookseller scanned the title and she thought she scanned the wrong book. Her face scrunched up in confusion because the system showed the title as Eat, Pray, Love. And she saw the cover of this book and thought, that is not the iconic Eat, Pray, Love cover. I assured her, yes, this is Eat, Pray, Love. I remember her commenting on how beautiful this copy was, and we started chatting about the book. This cover was designed by Rui Ricardo. Ricardo is a Portuguese illustrator best known for his decade-long travel poster series that he started developing after backpacking through Europe and Asia. His art style usually begins with pencil and paper, and those preliminary sketches are transformed into stunning pieces of digital art. This cover is undeniably beautiful, but I have to admit it is not by any means representative of what Elizabeth Gilbert's travel memoir is about. The original cover does a great job of capturing the distinctness of the three countries Gilbert visits during her post-divorce trip. Even the simplicity and cheesiness of the popular paperback's title art is reflective of Gilbert's tone and fits into ideas that Gilbert describes in her memoir. But I do love Ricardo's art style, and his backpacking background made him a great fit for designing this limited edition cover that evokes an urge to travel and keeps me loyal and constant in my own love of travel. What is the best typography or font on a book cover? My favorite typography is on What to Expect When You're Expecting Robots by Laura Major and Julie Shaw. This is a nonfiction book about the future of human-robot collaboration. I love that a robot is looking curiously at the title and the negative space is as bright red as a stop sign. This book is really intended to make you stop and think about how machines currently operate and how they will likely operate in the future. But it's also written in extremely accessible language, and that voice is echoed in the all lowercase sans serif font. The title is prominent, but the lack of all caps makes me feel like the cover isn't yelling at me. The topics covered in this book have elements of randomness and unpredictability, but the authors really want to spell out those concepts as predictable. So having this consistent font spacing and alignment creates a very intentional sense of order that I love. Which book has the best simple cover? Flipped by Vendel Van Drennen, an old school YA dual perspective rom-com about first love. I am obsessed with this cover, and the baby chick is relevant, I promise. The next prompt is best end pages. My favorite end pages are from this vintage Nancy Drew, The Clue of the Broken Locket mystery. Nancy Drew was one of my favorite children's detective mysteries to read as a kid. When I was older, I found out that over the decades, Nancy Drew books were republished multiple times with different covers, storylines, and end pages. And these, let me show you, light blue end pages are from a 1960s print run. The illustrations are recreations of 1960s Nancy Drew covers. A few of the covers in this print run were illustrated by Bill Giles, but most, including this installment, were illustrated by Rudy Nappy, a prolific American pulp fiction illustrator contracted by Grosset and Dunlap to create over 100 covers for the Nancy Drew series. Interestingly enough, Nappy didn't actually read the Nancy Drew books. His wife, Peggy Schubert, read them and described the books to him so he could draw out her synopses into oil on board paintings. The paintings became book covers, and the end pages are Gillies, it might be Giles, and Nappy's covers stripped down into sketches. I do suspect someone else, I'm not sure who, must have redrawn the cover scenes in the end pages because the end page pictures are slightly different from the original covers themselves. The facial expressions are a tad different, bits of background details are missing, missing, and I tried to look through illustration archives to find the original Endpage artist or to see if maybe the Endpages were based on drafts. So if you know who drew these Endpages, please let me know. I am very curious. What is the best map in a book? My favorite book maps are those in my collector's editions of Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom, which you can see behind me. I love the sprayed edges, the symbols, the glint in the covers of these editions, and that the original book's maps are washed in a cohesive color. All of the Grishaverse maps were designed by Keith Thompson, a British-Canadian freelance artist, best known for his designs in the film Don't Be Afraid of the Dark and his concept art in Borderlands. He collaborated with Le Bardugo to bring the Grishaverse to life through these shaded maps. Six of Crows is a heist story, so I love that there's an ice court map included because honestly, this makes me feel like I'm looking at outlines and sketches in a cheesy heist movie planning scene. What is the best naked hardback on your shelf? My favorite naked hardback is a YA romance that I found in Libe Lula in San Diego. XOXO by Axio is a celebrity, non-celebrity love story in which Jenny crushes on a K-pop band member. This book is written like a sweet K-drama, and the cover is just as sweet. The naked hardback is the same as the cover. The artist is Young Se-yoon, aka Zipcy, a South Korean illustrator. I love the dreaminess of this cover. The palette feels like cotton candy and oh hi pink moment sunsets. Zipcy also illustrated the cover of another YA contemporary, You've Reached Sam. I don't own that book, but if I did, it would be a cover buy. What is the best back cover? I have a whole series of back covers I am obsessed with. I just pulled a few off my shelf, but these are part of the Arcturus Classic set, a thin, small print, paperback classics collection. The cover designs for Arcturus are overseen by Peter Ridley, and many of the covers feature illustrations by Peter Grant. The blurb for each cover is situated in a small circle, and outside the circle are patterns and imagery associated with each classic. Sometimes shadows of characters occupy the space. Despite the tiny text inside, I do love these particular classics editions. Every time I visit Half Price Books, I end up with a new title from this series. Sorry, I was holding that the wrong way. What are your favorite chapter headers? I wasn't expecting chapter headers unless Andrew Sean Greer's queer multi-continent romp follows a writer taking flight after flight in a sad attempt to escape the pain of his lover's wedding. I love the joyful, doodle-like quality of the chapter headers unless. These interior illustrations are by Lily Carre, a CalArts lecturer and co-director of the iWorks Festival of Experimental Animation. Carre's work focuses on defying narratives, and I think it's interesting that she brought her particular illustrative style to a book with a peculiar narrative. What are the best illustrations in books? I own so many illustrated copies of books that I love. Illustrations in a book make me so happy. This duo of cloth-bound hardcover Hans Christian Andersen stories is illustrated by Sanna Anuka, a Finnish textile designer. Anuka incorporates traditional Nordic patterns into her illustrations, and the result is this dreamy folk art style that I'm a little obsessed with. I also love the covers in Kay O'Neill's Tea Dragon Society comics, a little coming-of-age story that features Neopet-like tea dragons. O'Neill is an insanely talented, self-taught Kiwi artist. The colors of these comics are indulgent with the vividness and whimsy of a Studio Ghibli film. I also adore the illustrations in the Inspired Traveler's Guide series. This series contains Sarah Baxter's armchair essays about different destinations wrapped in one-word themes, but I want all of these books solely for Amy Grimes' vibrant illustrations. Grimes creates her illustrations digitally on an iPad, and then she layers in hand-painted elements as well, and the result is a blend of mediums that I cannot get enough of. I just want these illustrations to be art prints that I can frame and hang all over my home. What is the best spine? My favorite spines are those on the Infernal Devices books. I have not read the series. I found the set at half price ages ago, and they have sat pretty in my unhoused pile of books, still unread. I love that the spines connect, that there's a detailed scene when you place the books next to each other. I really should read these books, this is my reminder to do so. What is my favorite cover on my shelves? With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, the deep purple burgundy, fiery food illustrations, and beautiful portrait of Imani with her crown of curls is gorgeous. This illustration was created by New York-based artist Eric Davila, who would later design the cover of The Inheritance of Acridia Divina. At one point, he also designed the Eat, Pray, Love Italian translated edition cover. As an artist, he's a heavy researcher. He'll start with a concept and slowly add in details after gathering a myriad of references. Then he creates these stunning visuals in Photoshop. Some of my other favorite covers are these Puffin and Bloom Classics editions featuring enchanting cover illustrations from Rifle Paper Co. Rifle Paper Company is a family-owned stationery shop that is pure whimsy. I didn't know about the company before I got this set from The Bookworm, a popular indie bookshop in Omaha. I loved the covers of these Puffin and Bloom classics so much. I looked up the illustrator and I found out her name was Anna Bond, and she has a whole range of products, many of which are now available at Barnes & Noble. So now I have other Rifle Paper Company products dotted around my home. I will link all of the cover designers and illustrators I mentioned who have websites and Etsy shops where they sell their art in the description box. So if you're interested in supporting any of these artists, you can check out their portfolios. Those are a few of the most aesthetic covers on my bookshelf. Let me know if you judge books based on their covers too, and what some of your favorite book covers are. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!